What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the ynggpodcast. Today, we're going to be talking about something that may be controversial for Columbus Blue Jackets fans, but something that, you know, the New Jersey Devil fans, New York Islander fans, and most importantly, the Calgary Flame fans are probably going to be pleased to hear about. Um, and before we get into today's topic, don't forget to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our content with anyone who loves the sport of hockey. So, Luca, let's start it off. Johnny Gaudreau signing with Columbus obviously had turned a lot of heads, surprised a lot of people. Everyone thought he was going to New Jersey or the New York Islanders, which was rumored he was supposed to sign in New York, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, everyone is disappointed, but the Columbus Blue Jacket fans are left, surprised but happy with the fact that Johnny Gaudreau signs with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So now, looking how the season is unfolding, we all know that it's very early. It's only 2 months into the season, but ultimately, did he make the right choice or the wrong choice?
Well, I think it really depends on how you look at it, right? I mean, from his perspective, he believes that he made the right choice. And I think regardless of what Columbus's record is, if he's happy being there and he's happy, being a part of the Jackets, and I mean, he did choose the Jackets, right? So, in his situation, I think it was the right choice for him. But in terms of from a hockey perspective and the potential opportunities that he could have had, I mean, look at the Devils and how good they are, right? And it's kind of they're sending a message to the league and to him, basically saying like, look, we didn't need you. We threw all that money at you. You didn't want to come to us, and we're just fine. But I think Columbus, it's an issue because it stems bigger than just Johnny Gaudreau and Patty. Look, they lost Patty Laine for a while. He just came back not too long ago. They haven't had good goaltending. They've struggled defensively as well. So this is a team that's just having problems all over the place. And I think that as much as yes, Johnny Gaudreau does make a difference, it's hard when you're the only guy kind of producing, and you're on a team that's not playing up to standards. And Columbus really isn't playing up to the standards that I think people expected them to be at. I know it's still early in the year, but they're 3-9, and they've lost their last five straight. So this is a team that's on the downfall, and we're going to be looking at this in a couple of weeks potentially. As is is the coach going to be fired here? Is this a situation where Brad Larson, the head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets, does he potentially be in the hot seat? Because it's a slow start, and I think Jarmo Kekalainen expected better. So that's kind of how I see it, at least for now. I don't know
Um,
about you.
for me, I would say in terms of his production, I don't think there's a problem. Having 5 goals, 4 assists, total of 9 points in 12 games. Obviously, plus minus not great when you're playing on a team like Columbus. -5 right now, but look, he is their best player currently, and he's playing like their best player. Unfortunately, like we said, the players surrounding him aren't playing on par to his level, right? And that's why they're currently ranked 32nd in the league. Look, you look at New Jersey, for example. Okay, they went to go sign Andre Palat as a B option because they didn't get their number one guy, which was Johnny Gaudreau. And if I'm mistaken, New Jersey did offer a lot more money than the
Yeah,
Columbus Blue
they
Jackets.
did.
So, Johnny signs for what, 7 years, $9.75 million, right, per season. Uh,
Yeah,
and now you're looking at New Jersey and you're like, well, look what they're doing without, Palat. Palat is out for God knows how long. He just got had surgery recently. So
yeah.
imagine Johnny Gaudreau on that team with the way that New Jersey is already playing right now. Like, they're impressive, and a lot of people had them before the season started as a team that was gonna break out and potentially make the playoffs. And they didn't have the start they wanted. A lot of people were booing Lindy Ruff, saying, you have to get fired and this and that. But ever since then, they've been really turning it on. The Jets are on. And
They
does
won
he
six straight.
yeah, does he necessarily like regret this signing? I don't know, because if you think about it, right? Right now, the Columbus Blue Jackets, as it stands, are projected to have 65 points and less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs. And we all know who's available in the draft next season. We have Connor Bedard, who's expected to go first overall, who's a center, who I would feel that Bedard being a center on the first line and having Johnny Gaudreau on your left side would be fantastic. But you also have Matiev Michkov, who's a right winger who, in a couple years, once his KHL deal is done in 2025, 2026, he could be playing on the right side of Johnny Gaudreau. Or you have Adam Fantilli, okay, who's also a center who could be playing on the first line. So right there, you have, three, in my opinion, potentially generational talent players, even though Bedard is in a league of his own. But two centers and one right wing, two guys that could easily play on a top line in Columbus with Johnny Gaudreau. And with Johnny Gaudreau being signed to 7 years, maybe it's not working out short term for Johnny Gaudreau, but long term, if you get one of those three guys, wow, that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting, and I think you brought up, Connor Bedard. I think Bedard would make perfect sense on a team like Columbus. I think, like you said, right, having him potentially centering a line of Patty Laine and Johnny Gaudreau, I think is something that's going to be fun to watch. But I think for Columbus here, I'm not so sure that that's the expectation. I mean, now maybe it might be to kind of like pack it all in. I know it's still early, but I don't think Jarmo Kekalainen's mission this season was to come into this season and tank for Bedard. I think his mission was to be competitive in the Metro and, sign, be as close to the playoffs as possible. And I think that it's been a really slow start for the Jackets, and I just don't know if it's going to continue, and if it's going to get better. But if it doesn't, you've got really three great options as potential, draft picks that you could potentially get depending on where you choose and where you finish in the standings. But for me, I think Columbus, they've already got a good young core. Cole Sillinger's a guy I really like. Igor Chinakov has played some good hockey. Kent Johnson as well has had some good minutes. So they've got a good forward core already, but I think it's just a matter of developing them and making them, you know, more NHL ready and giving them the opportunity. But also, you know, this might be a situation where, I look at the Jackets team on paper, they're a better team than I think they're playing at, to be honest. Their D core is pretty good. Their forward core is not bad. And I think that they're playing under expectations. So, is there a possibility that they let go of their coach?
I honestly, maybe it's too premature at the moment. I think this is a team that's going to go through growing pains this year. And, we saw with the New Jersey Devils how they had so many young talent like Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier, for example, where, there was every year they were always expected to take a step forward, right? And they kept on getting better in terms of their prospects and the players they added. And it wasn't working out up until this year where we're seeing, holy crap, New Jersey is a dominant team, and it seems like it's going to continue throughout the season. Whereas I think the Columbus Blue Jackets are just laying the foundation as of right now, and adding a star player like Johnny Gaudreau is another piece to that foundation. And I still think that there are a couple of prospects or a couple of UFA signings away from being a competitive team. So honestly speaking, like I'm not too crazy about their defense. I was expecting a bounce back season from his Lincolns. It's never too late, but we'll see what happens. Corpi Salo has been dealing with injuries the last couple of years. Even the start of the season, he was dealing with injuries. Patrick Laine was out too in the beginning of the season. But honestly, like for me, like thinking of a potential guy like Connor Bedard, who is such a dynamic two-way forward who can play center or the wing, and you, you even at 5'9", he still has a little bit of a physical presence. And in the NHL, it's not really about size anymore; it's about skill. And even though he is 5'9", and if I'm mistaken, Johnny Gaudreau is the same height as well, it's going to be a small line, but he has superstar potential. And then looking at a guy like Fantilli, if you want to look at another center, um, you know, I've just look at his numbers, in the U18 World Championship, you look at him in the USHLs, Chicago Steel, I just think that, he's an impressive guy that I do think, would fit well with Columbus youth movement right now. Looking how young they
Uh,
are they
I
are.
think I think any of these guys fit in Columbus's youth. I think any of these guys fit in anybody's youth movement, to be completely honest with you. But I do see Columbus as potentially a bottom feeder. Now they're a team that I think could definitely challenge for Bedard. I mean, they're doing a really good job of it too. But
I think they
this
need a
team.
first line center. And if you look at the top 10, sorry to cut you off,
Oh, it's fine.
there's Callum Ritchie, okay, who's
Yeah.
projected to go 10th overall. Okay, 8th overall. You have Dilibor Dvorsky.
Yep.
At number 7, you have Leo Carlson. At number 6, you have Zach Benson. At number 4, you have Braden Yager. And like I said, at number 3, you have Adam Fantilli. And at number 1, you have Connor Bedard. So if they manage to get a top 10 pick this year, there's a load of projected top centermen within that top 10. So, I mean, people have been, debating, is it Jack Roslovich? Is it going to be Cole Sillinger? Who's going to be the number one center? And now they're stuck with Boom Jenner, who did have a very good season last year. But the thing is that he's not on par to what Johnny Gaudreau brings to the table, especially as a player. And he needs to be paired up with an elite talent, or maybe even a franchise talent, like he was, in Calgary, playing with a guy like Elias Lindholm and Matthew Kachuk.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think that, in Columbus right now, they're lacking some pieces. Uh, I think this is a team that needs to, find their groove again. I don't think they're as bad as what their record says, though. I think that they're better than that. I think we kind of know that, but they haven't had good goaltending at all. I mean, Merzlikins, I think, has an 863. Daniil Tarazov, who they've had play a couple of games as well, he's at an 893. So you need better goaltending from them. They've allowed the most goals in the NHL uh, since the start of the year. So they're struggling. They're second
Yeah.
in goals against behind the Anaheim Ducks. So
Look,
they need better goaltending, and I think they need better defense if they're going to want to
I
win
by
games.
no means is this a bad signing. That's what we're basically
No,
alluding to, because long term, if they do finish in the top 10, like we were saying, there's a slew of top centermen available, and that's something they need to pair up with Johnny Gaudreau. And look in New Jersey. Sure, it would be a welcome addition to have Johnny Gaudreau, but then after, you have all those players that you're gonna have to re-sign, and especially with Jesper Bratt, who signed a bridge deal, and the way he's playing, you need some cap space to get him re-signed, or else you're gonna lose him, right? So, in terms of the New York Islanders, that's a whole different story with Lou Lamoriello. I don't think that was ever gonna happen, in my opinion. He wasn't willing to pay the money, but yeah. With that being said, guys, that concludes today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope we didn't upset you guys, because that was not the intention of today's video. Just to basically analyze the situation. Just an early analysis to see what could happen to the Columbus Blue Jackets moving forward, especially surrounding a star player like Johnny Gaudreau. How does the standings and the way that they're playing impact, the top UFA signing of the summer, and their top UFA signing as well. But like we always say, if you guys are interested in Bet99, who are sponsors, you could click on the link in the description below. There's fantasy hockey, football, other casino games. You have to be 19 years old and up to play. You can use our Young Guns code, which is Young Guns 1. And then, guys, if you want to donate to the Mind Foundation Canada, they're currently focused on neurological disease and disorders, specifically mental health. So you guys could donate using the link in our description below. Guys, we want to hear your thoughts as well. Is this a bad signing? Is it too early? Should he have signed with the New Jersey Devils, who are doing fantastic right now, or maybe the New York Islanders? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Share this with anybody who loves Johnny Gaudreau, specifically Calgary Flame fans who are probably devastated. Or Columbus Blue Jackets fans, or probably New Jersey. Anyone basically that was linked to Johnny Gaudreau in the summer. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Young Guns podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this to hockey fans, baby.